Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minion with me this evening is Kefki.
Hello.
And as it is once again a Friday, I'm, of course, the keeper for tonight, Sanguine. We might be joined by Adam at some point. He is MIA at the moment, but hopefully he'll
Hmm.
show up and we'll click him in when he does. But if not, it'll be the two of us, unless someone else decides that they want to hop in as well. So how are you doing tonight, Kefki?
I am alive. Wah,
Always
ah.
better than the alternative.
Yes, yes, it is. I think.
And
What's the alternative? Oh, wait. Yes.
being not so.
Being not alive.
Yes. And life is beneficial to not life.
This is true.
But yeah, I'm doing fairly well, though I have a slight annoyance from earlier in the day that I was telling you about before stream. Of went to donate some plasma, and I think a fairly new tech ended up doing a through and through of my vein. So in one side, out the other, which has caused a fairly bulbous hematoma on the side of my arm. Hematoma just being really bad bruise, blood spilling out
Blood
into the
blister?
surrounding tissue.
Oh.
Not a blood blister. Hematomas are blood spilling out into the surrounding tissue, which is exactly what
Mm-hmm.
a blister, or which is exactly what a bruise is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bruise. It's ruptured capillaries or venules, arterioles, something like that.
I've
The
gotten those
smaller,
before from having your blood drawn. It gets the blood comes up under the skin and it goes brown and blue. Yes.
yep.
Right?
So
Yeah.
it's when blood spills into the surrounding tissue,
Mm.
and it's just a bad bruise. It can, depending on how big it is, it can have additional side effects, but for the most part, it's a bad bruise. So it takes time for the affected blood vessels to heal up, and then it takes time for the blood that spilled into the surrounding tissue to be reabsorbed into your body. It doesn't end up recirculating as blood, it just ends up being broken down, and then some of those materials will find their way back into being bruises. Hey, Cynic, just talking about. I went to donate plasma earlier in the day, and they threw and through my vein, so I currently have a hematoma because needle went in vein, needle went out of vein through the other side, which caused the hole that wasn't supposed to be there to leak blood into the surrounding tissue, which is all kinds of fun.
It's too bad that whole thing about one drop of blood being enough to test and stuff like that wasn't real. Oh, what was her name? Monotone lady, deep voice lady. Um,
Oh, the one that is serving federal time, and I think
yes.
they are currently trying to reduce her sentence.
Oh,
Let me quickly double check. I remember something about that. That they were trying to. Yeah, it was Theranos was the company, and it was
Theranos.
Elizabeth
Yeah,
Holmes
yeah,
was
her, that
the
lady.
CEO. And yeah, they shortened her sentence by 2 years.
Oh, well, that's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she did, she should be serving more time. She tried to trick everybody.
Yeah.
Fraud. That's it.
Knowingly defrauded people,
Yeah. Oh,
which
excuse me.
is absolute horseshit. I hate the idea of, well, it was a non-violent crime, so it shouldn't be. No. There's. I don't really give a shit if a crime is non-violent. What I care about is if it's victimless. If you're just getting high, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
You get high, you don't do anything against anyone while you're high, you just ruin your own life by remaining permanently blitzed or seeking your next fix. Okay, that's you. That's you ruining your life. I don't give a shit. It's when you start fucking with other people that's when I really start going, no, fuck them. The more you fuck with people, the more I think that you should get fucked. If you killed people, that's severe fucking with people.
Mm-hmm.
If you do horrendous sexual actions against people, that's severe fucking with people. If you defrauded millions of people, that's a severe fucking with people. I don't think that you should just be able to skate by with, well, it was a non-violent crime. No, fuck you.
It wasn't victimless. So, yeah.
You didn't hit anyone, yeah, that's true, but you ruined people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the marker that I care about. Did you ruin other people's lives? And the degree to which you ruined other people's lives is the degree to which your life should be ruined.
Agreed.
And I'm sick and tired of this, well, we need to have mercy. No. We need to have justice. Justice is not, oh, someone committed a crime, so let's beat them with rods. That's not justice. That's
I don't
cruelty.
know. It depends on the crime.
To a certain degree, I'll agree with that. But someone shoplifts, they shouldn't have their hand chopped off.
Nah.
So that would be cruelty. That would be taking it way too fucking far. But there's a quote from Adam Smith that I absolutely love, which is, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent.
Wait, what was that? Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent?
Yep, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent.
That's a nice quote.
Yeah, and it's true, because if someone doesn't serve the sentence that they should, because you were being merciful to them, well, now you've put someone back on the streets that shouldn't be on the streets, which means that you're punishing everyone that was innocent for the sake of being merciful to someone that was guilty. None of that shit. It should be, we care about what is just, and justice is not mercy, justice is not cruelty. Justice is its own fucking middle area of that equation. It is the middle of that spectrum. And that's where we should be seated firmly. We aren't merciful, we aren't cruel, we're just. Because that's also where you have the greatest chance of actually changing people that are doing fucked up things. Because if the punishment is too light, well, then you have the current issues with cities, where someone commits a crime, is released. There was the story from, I want to say a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where it happened in California. A man was in a police chase after stealing a vehicle. He was arrested. He was taken in. He was released within an hour of being taken in. He then was picked up an hour after his release as he was stealing things from people's yards.
Ah, good grief.
He was just walking around a neighborhood with a box, picking things out of their yard, throwing them in his box, and continuing his walk. He was picked up, arrested, taken in. He was released within an hour. An hour
The
later.
second time?
Yep,
Oh my
the
god.
second time, same day. So he got taken in again. Or, sorry, got let out again. Hour later, he was found breaking into cars to steal radios.
Sorry, it's not
him.
funny, but...
Yeah, they arrested him again. He was caught again after that because he had been released yet again. This is all in the same fucking day. He was released yet again. And this time he wasn't released immediately after because this time he did an armed robbery.
Oh, he was building up to something bad.
When you don't get any punishment for breaking the law, it teaches you that you're allowed to break the law.
Yes, you can get away with it. That's what people think. Oh, I can just keep doing this, get a slap on the wrist, and then I can do even worse stuff, and they're not going to do nothing to me.
Yep. So it kept on amping up and kept on amping up because nothing ever happened. He was perfectly fine to just go about committing more crimes.
Yep.
And this happens in cities all across the country. We saw this in a good chunk of Californian cities. We see this in Illinois. Or in Chicago, Illinois. We see this in New York. We see this time and time again. Hell, the guy who's currently being tried for subduing, and then the guy ended up dying, the madman on the New York subway. That guy, the one who was threatening people on the subway, who was then subdued.
Oh.
He had been picked up earlier and then released.
Good Lord.
And he had a massive rap sheet of assaulting people.
Good Lord. Yeah. Sometimes it just seems like nobody got no sense. Don't let people out again like that. Do something. It's just gonna keep offending.
Arrest people. Don't be cruel to them, like I said. Just give them the just sentence.
Don't be cruel, but arrest the fool.
Don't be cruel to them. I'm not saying, oh, we caught you for shoplifting, so we're going to strap you to this chair and beat your balls with a monkey's fist.
Ow!
But we arrested you for shoplifting, so first off, you're going to return anything that you were trying to shoplift, or that you have shoplifted. If you can't return it, you're going to return the money. If you can't return the money, right now, everything that you do financially is going to be garnished until it's repaid. Secondly, you're going to serve some time in a level 1 facility. So, level 1 facilities, in state prisons, there's at least in the prison that I'm familiar with, there's a number-based system on what level of security they are.
Mm-hmm.
So a level 1 facility is a minimum security facility.
Mm-hmm.
These are the facilities where if you see people that are working on road crews, that are a prison road crew, they'll go pick up litter, shit like that from the side of the road.
Excuse me.
they'll be level 1 offenders. And they can be trained in a bunch of other skills, and they end up being able to work most of the time while they're in prison. They get paid while they're in prison. If they have any financial crime, that payment goes towards repaying whatever they did. But it's regimented. It is still prison. It is still a punishment. Which, if it's a minor crime, yeah, that's probably the appropriate level for them to deal with.
Yeah.
Minor crimes deserve minimum securities. The more extreme your crime gets, the higher you work up. So there's, in the state that I worked, it was, you had level 1 through 5. So level 1 would be a lot of your drug offenses. And these are the legit minor drug offenses. These are, you were found in possession. But it wasn't just you were found in possession once, because the state that I worked in, we had a rather high recidivism rate because we had a shit ton of programs to keep you from going to prison. So if you ended up in prison, yeah, the chance of you returning to prison, extremely high. Because in order to end up in prison the first time, you had to commit the crime, be caught, then get sent to a program that was meant to be a established program to get you to change. So you're caught for, let's say, shoplifting. You'd go to the shoplifting program. They'd try to mend your ways. Then, after you finish the program, you're free to go. So you would go about your life. If you committed the crime again, you'd get arrested. You'd be sent to a second program. And they would try to mend your ways. But once you completed that program, you'd be free to go. And you might have to pay fines as well as do these programs. But these programs keep you out of prison. So they'll send you off. If you commit the crime again, then you're sent to a third program. If you
3
commit
strikes,
the crime
you're out,
again,
right?
you're sent to a fourth.
Oh.
There's like 4 to 5 programs for pretty much every minor offense in the state that I worked in. So by the time that someone ended up in a level 1 facility, they have committed the crime multiple times. Which meant that a good chunk of the people that ended up in the level 1 prison would end up, or level 1 prison or any prison in the state has a high chance of returning to prison because we've already pruned away all the people that were likely to rehabilitate.
So it's not like you steal a car, right? And then you go straight to prison. You have to steal a car multiple times.
So it depends on the degree of the crime. So the more minor the crime, the more programs there were to try to rehabilitate you. The more severe the crime, the more likely you'd just get sent straight to prison. So you did violent assault, and it wasn't a provoked assault. It was just you decided to kick the ever-living shit out of someone, then you're going to prison. But if it was deemed to have mitigating factors, then there's a chance that you'd be sent to like an anger management program before you end up actually going to prisons. So you'd be sent to an anger management. They would try to get that sorted out. But assault, fairly serious crime. So that would get like one program to try to prevent you from re-offending. Because if it was, you did the one assault that had some mitigating circumstances. They think it's just that you have anger issues rather than, no, you were being a violent bastard. You'll get sent to the anger management. If you stole a car, they will probably, the first time, so long as nothing else happened, send you to a program to try to redirect you. But the more minor the crime, the more attempts at redirecting there were.
Right.
Severe
So if
crimes
you're
still
in
landed
prison,
you in the clink.
yeah, if you're in the prison, that means that you have offended more than once, you were saying.
You've either offended more than once, or your crime was so egregious that it was deemed to require prison time. There was no, we're going to try a redirect. Like if you murder someone, then you aren't going to have a redirect. But
yeah.
minor crimes, they try to redirect you a lot. And it just pisses me off that it is so often that people will look at prisons and say, well, look at the recidivism rate in prisons. They clearly don't do anything. Well, you have to look at what sort of area you're dealing in. Because if you're looking at the prisons in my state and you say, well, the prisons clearly don't do anything. Well, first off, the prisons keep those criminals away from everyone else. Second off, the prisons are so late in the chain that, yeah, you're going to end up with high recidivism rate for anyone that ends up going to the prison because they've had to offend for minor crimes multiple times. For, like, medium severity, they had to offend at least twice.
What
For
does
severe
that word
crimes,
mean?
Recidivism,
Recidivism.
it means
Yes.
that the rate at which a person has gone to prison and then ends up having to return to prison. They reoffend.
Okay. Okay.
So the recidivism rate is the rate at which people do that.
Okay.
So if 75% of people that end up in a prison return to that prison or another prison, then there's a 75% recidivism rate.
Okay, my mind is gone somewhere else. That would be cool to have a pyramid jail, like a pyramid prison. That would be cool. Send them to the prison. Sorry.
Nice. But that's how that works. And like I said, you have to look at what the areas that these prisons are in. Because if you're in a state like the one I am, then you might think unduly that, well, clearly the prisons just increase the rate of offense. Well, no, you've already selected for the people that will continue to commit crimes. By the time that you land in prison in the state that I live in, the vast majority of the people there, they are the lifelong criminals. And once you become a lifelong criminal, the chance of you turning away from that vastly diminished. Because all the people that you know.
Yeah, that's what your life is. That's what you know. You've become a criminal now. Yes.
Rather
that's
than
very
having
interesting.
job skills like, oh yeah, I learned how to be a plumber, I'm a mechanic or shit like that. Your job skills are, I learned how to pickpocket.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at keeping people off my corner. So you have to look at the area to figure out whether the recidivism rate is actually bad. Because a fairly high recidivism rate in an area that has a shit ton of these redirect programs should be expected.
Yeah. Assassin says, can we force them to mine helium-3 on the moon? Yes, just not near the moon base. We need them far away from the moon base.
And well, the thing is, this is also one of the things that pisses me off constantly when I hear people talk about prisons and, oh, prisons are just modern day slavery. So when I was a correction officer, I worked at an industry prison.
Oh, you were a
An
corrections
industry,
officer. Sorry,
yeah,
I
I was a
didn't know
corrections
that.
officer for a
Huh.
few years. So, an industry prison is a prison that is a working prison where they have jobs, they can learn trade skills, they can work those jobs while in prison,
Hmm.
and it allows them, if they've done everything well, to potentially step into jobs of that sort
Oh.
after prison.
Yeah,
And they get
it
paid.
helps them to better their lives. That's
Yep.
nice. Yeah.
And they get paid the entire time. They don't get paid as much as you would outside, but that's because there's a calculation done on what they get paid, which is
Hmm.
room and board. So they don't have any place that they need to rent. They're in prison.
Right.
So a chunk of the cost to keep them alive and safe in prison is reduced from what they're paid. So food expenses are reduced, or food expenses are taken out, and what would be a similar thing to rent, because an industry prison is there to try to make it so that having the people in prison, not only do they get skills, but it makes it cheaper to run that prison, because that prison is able to sell the products that the prisoners are making.
Hmm.
So it drives off some of the cost. But
Yeah.
what you do is, if you end up in a prison that is an industry prison in the state that I work, I can't speak for every state. I looked it up a while ago. There's something like 3 states in the country that don't have paid work when it comes to prison. And even in those 3 states, it's that not all of their positions are paid. And also, they don't take into account when the reimbursement is increased privileges. So, for instance, in the prison system that I worked for, it was you got paid, but unless your products were being sold directly to the consumer, you got paid at a lower rate. But then you also got additional privileges.
Hmm.
If you got in one of the direct to consumer shops where you had an aspect of your work that was transformative on what you're doing. So we had like a packing plant at the prison. If you were working in the packing plant, you didn't get the increased pay. But then we had the balloon shop, which was, those shiny Mylar balloons that you can get that have different designs on them.
Oh yeah, like Get Better or Welcome Home and stuff like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
get well soon, all that type of stuff. One of the shops at the prison that I worked for was the balloon shop,
Sorry.
where
Oh,
they decorated those balloons.
huh. Y'all hear that? If you get a Mylar balloon that came from prison, you got a prison balloon.
Some of them, yes, because those balloons are sold nationwide. And
Mm.
due to those being direct to consumer products, all those offenders got minimum wage. The offenders that
Yeah.
didn't didn't produce something that was directly transformative, so the packing plant, they didn't get minimum wage, they got less than minimum wage. But
Mm.
anyone that was a worker at the prison also got additional privileges at the prison. So there was visitation rights, of course. Everyone's used to visitation rights when they're thinking about prison. Workers got increased visitation rights.
So if they behave, basically, they could do more stuff if they do a good job.
Yeah, they could have more people
They
visit
have more
them,
freedom.
and they could have more people visit them more frequently.
That's fair.
They
That's
would
fair.
get extra yard time. So yard is the prison workout field, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
that's where the weights are. That's
yeah,
where they get in fights. Da, 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 da.
think a giant, almost like school playground, where it's baseball fields, basketball courts, but then add in like a weight room on the side.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's neat.
they have all that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, Spud, I just got allergies. Thank you for asking. I know I sound snuffly. Sorry.
And
But yeah, that is where they go to because are there guards in the prison yard?
oh yeah.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
that's where the towers are.
Oh, because you see in movies, they go out and they're like, wait till so-and-so is by the weights and they're doing something and then they walk up and shank! Da-da-da.
That does happen, but at the
Oh,
same time,
jeez.
because that's where the towers are, that also increases the chance of, oh, you just shot, or you just shanked him? You just got shot by the tower guard.
Sass was thinking the same thing. That's where you're going to get shanked.
Yep.
But they actually have guns up in towers looking over the yard.
The tower guards have guns, yeah.
Wow. And they will shoot your ass.
They're there in order to... So, whenever it comes to any sort of use of force at a prison, it is used for one reason and one reason only. And that is to stop an act. This goes for every sort of violence, from hands-on. This even goes, technically, if my voice going loud is on the use of force continuum. So the use of force continuum is every action that you take up to and including the use of lethal force.
Oh.
So just being there is the first step of the use of force continuum.
Oh. Okay.
Second is, hey man, knock it off. Hey man, knock it off. And it continues round as you go from the being there, the polite order, the assertive order, and it goes up to the use of minor hands-on control holds, stuff like that, to more serious hands-on, to less than lethal force, to lethal force.
Ah, so you beat the shit out of them before you shoot them.
Well, you don't have to go through every step of the use of force. That's the interesting
you
thing.
can jump some steps. That's nice.
It has to rely on the totality of the circumstances. So if someone's life is in danger, then it can be, depending on the totality of the circumstances, completely justified to jump straight to lethal force.
Ah, okay.
Because there's certain things that automatically will allow the use of force that's to preserve your own life and the life of another, and or to the life of another. Let me phrase it that way. It doesn't have to be that you're preserving two people. It could be that you're preserving your own life or someone else's, or both. To ensure that an offender does not escape the prison. So if someone is trying to hop the prison wall, and they're at a point where their escape seems imminent,
Uh-huh.
then lethal force can be justified.
So not to change. It's still the same subject. You talk about jumping the wall and then cannibalistic was a bunch of Alcatraz. Those prisoners that got out of Alcatraz, what do you think happened to them? Because
I
they had a raft. Did they go in the water and get eaten by sharks? Or
So there's two things that I think would be the most likely. Either they got out and they managed to
mm-hmm.
just lay low.
Mm.
That is a possibility. It's somewhat low possibility, but it is not a negligible one because there
Uh-huh.
is some evidence that that might have happened.
Huh.
Option 2, they drowned.
They dropped. Oh.
I will add in an
Oh.
option 3 as well,
Okay, what's
which
option 3?
is they got washed out.
They got what?
Washed
Washed
out
out.
and died of exposure.
Oh, out to sea it. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But they never found hide nor hair of them folks, did they?
They found some bits and pieces here and there, not bits and pieces of the people, but bits and pieces of their kit.
Oh, okay. Thought you were talking about, well, if they found bits and pieces of the peoples, they did
Yeah,
not
they
get
found
away.
bits and pieces of their kit. They was also someone that at one point, I believe, called in to a news station and claimed to be one of them.
Mm-hmm. I
But
bet they
that
couldn't
was
prove it, though. It was probably a
unverified.
hoax. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it might have
That's
been a
probably a
hoax. It
hoax.
might have been the person actually calling in. It was just unverified which way
Alcatraz
it
is
went.
supposed to... Alcatraz is supposed to be haunted, isn't it?
There's stories about pretty much every prison when it comes to that.
Oh, yeah. I know there's one prison that is supposed to be... that's abandoned now that is supposed to be so haunted. And I can't remember the freaking name of it. It's a scary looking prison though. Like, damn
Technically,
it.
the prison that I worked at was supposed to be one of the most haunted prisons in the entire country.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Huh. Did you ever see anything spoopy, Sanguine?
So I didn't see anything. There were a lot of other corrections officers that
Mm-hmm.
saw things or experienced things according to their stories. The creepiest moment that I personally had
Uh-huh.
was I was on A team. It's the response team for the prison one night.
Mm-hmm.
And part of A team's duties is to do the facility check. So they went out and did the industry check. Since we were an
Mm-hmm.
industry prison, there was a chance that an offender could try to hide in industry and then try to escape during the night.
Right. Okay.
So for the industry check, it's A team goes out and they go room by room, sweeping through the entirety of industry. And as we were going through, we do this for a bunch of different reasons. So one of them is to see if anyone's tried to hide away. One of
Uh-huh.
them is to see if anyone's squirreled anything away where they shouldn't have.
Oh, uh-huh.
See if any tools are missing, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last two reasons that this is done is there's a bunch of coffee pots floating around the prison because people get tired, they want coffee. Coffee's provided.
For a minute, I thought that you saw something a coffee pot floating. Sorry.
No.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, they're placed around in areas like that. So we make sure that the coffee pots are all turned off
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't dry boil, cause a fire, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then also we turn off fans because no one's in industry during the night, so save electricity. So Yeah, that is legit part of the industry check. It's to turn off shit that doesn't need to be.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened, Sanguine?
So, my partner and I go into industry and we start our check and everything's going perfectly normal. We go into this one room and that particular building, industry, there's a bunch of buildings out there that we checked. But the particular one that we went into at that point was one where the room that you enter through is also the room that you have to leave through. So you enter through that room, you loop around to a bunch of other rooms, then you come back and you head out. So as we're going through, we enter that room, we turn off a fan and a couple water boilers, and everything's good. We continue through, didn't hear anything else, didn't see anything else as we're going through. And we come back through that room, and we hear faint, old singing.
Oh no! Oh hell no! Hell no!
I'm talking like 1920s music.
Hell no! Was it like a radio or like a person singing?
It sounded like a radio.
Oh no! 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 No!
My partner and I look over at each other, like, what the fuck was that? And we start tracking down where the music's coming from. And as we're doing this, we're going, okay, we were in this room earlier. I didn't hear shit. Did you hear anything? No, I didn't hear shit. So we get to the very back corner, and behind this section of a shelf, there's another shelf right behind it. And on that shelf, there's an electric outlet on one side of the shelf. And then on the other side, there's this old radio.
Was it plugged in?
That also looks like it's about a 1920s radio.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
And the thing's plugged in. And it's where the old fucking music's coming from. So it's a 1920s radio playing 1920s music. That's kind of fucking strange.
Yes. Yeah, there shouldn't be any 1920s music now because it's modern and that's freaking weird.
My partner reaches over to the cord, just pulls the cord from the wall. And you know how when a radio has capacitors store energy. So if it has capacitors, it will kind of wind down in the sound because it'll get softer and softer as the capacitor drains.
And it'll kaputski.
Yep. That wasn't what happened.
Oh God, what happened?
We unplugged it, and it finished the song at the same exact volume that it had been playing the entire fucking time. And then it just winked out.
How long did it take to finish the song?
It was a good 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute.
That's too long. That's too long.
Yeah.
No.
So my partner and I are just going to look at each other and go, get the fuck out of here. We got the fuck out.
Yeah. That's creepy. That's creepy.
Because like I said, we hadn't heard it when we passed through that room before, and we had turned off everything. This was the first room that we entered. We turned off fans. We turned off a coffee pot. We didn't hear a goddamn thing. And then we went through the rest of the building, came back, and that radio was on.
That's creepy, creepy, creepy. I mean, okay, so there's a guy ooga booga, no ooga booga me. There's a chance that that just could have been stored energy, and that's the way it went off. It could have been built that way, but why was it playing 1940s music?
Yeah, why was it old music? Why was it such a fucking old radio? And why didn't it not kind of soften as it went? Why did it stay the exact same volume and then at the moment that the song ended, it winked out?
And you didn't hear it the first time either.
Yeah.
No,
There was
no,
absolutely
no.
nothing the first time.
No, that's creepy. I'm gonna hide in your pocket now. That's creepy. That's so freaking creepy.
And
Oh,
there were other
that.
things that had
Oh,
somewhat of explanations, like there was one shower in one of the cell holes that would turn on in the middle of the night every night. It wouldn't turn on at the same time every night. It would just turn on at some point every night, run for a while, and then turn off.
What was the explanation for this?
So one of the ideas behind it is that there was something wrong with the plumbing in that section.
Mm-hmm.
And it was effectively that pressure would build, then it would... The valve on that was the loosest valve.
Mm-hmm.
So pressure would build, the valve would slip, allow the water through, pressure would decrease, shutting off the shower again.
Okay, yeah, so it's just basically forcing water through there. That's why it popped on.
Yeah, that was the
You're
theory,
going to have to keep
but
too.
there was nothing really to say that yes, that was it, or no,
Yeah.
that wasn't it.
Was the little valve to turn it on and off, was that ever moved when that happened?
None of us ever got up to look at it. We just
I
kind of
wouldn't
went,
either.
oh, that shower's running again.
Yeah, I wouldn't go near it. No.
Yep,
No.
and there was one incident, this didn't happen to me, where in one part of the prison, it was this small little cell hall off to the side for people going through AA and NA. And they did the rounds several times, and there's this one hole that goes down between the cell blocks, but it's to access the back of the cell blocks. And there's a door that has most of its windows on the door are painted over. But there was one that's taken out so that you can shine a flashlight back to make sure that no one's slipped out the back of their cell.
No, I know. Okay, I just had horrible, creepy things pop into my brain. Somebody was looking out of that part, weren't they?
No, not that.
Oh, thank God.
Was that they passed through and nothing was in the hole, nothing was in the hole, nothing was in the hole. There was a chair in the hole. And they continued on throughout the night. None of the offenders were out of their cell, nothing like that. No chair was missing from anywhere else. There was just a chair sitting dead center in that hole, facing the doorway.
Why was a chair sitting facing the doorway?
Yep.
Facing the block? No. Could somebody have put it there to punk y'all out or something, to scare you? Just like, pump. I'm going to scare the guards tonight.
The only way that someone could have gotten to that section of the prison without that guard seeing them would have had to have been a team. And they would have had to get like 12 different keys from 2 different control points.
So it's highly unlikely.
Get all the way to there.
Sorry, I got chills. That's creepy. Why was it facing the door?
Certain people did occasionally fuck with other people. Like, there was more than once where someone who was on A team, their buddy would be working in that back section, and A team would know when that back section went on break. So they would just kind of go back into that back pass and stand there waiting for the person to come back off break.
Did they jump out at it, ooga booga?
You didn't even have to ooga booga. You just had to stand there,
Yeah,
and
I
someone would
know.
damn near piss themselves.
Yeah, no, if I wouldn't even want, I couldn't even go down that hallway. Seriously, that's a creepy sounding. I'd be like, no, I quit.
Yep. And there was some other shit like that would go on. Then,
Mm,
like I said, there's a whole bunch of ghost stories from various people that I worked with. Like,
mm-hmm.
there was one officer that, or there were two officers that were doing industry rounds, and it used to be that there was a break room that a team could go into and relax for
Mm-hmm.
part of the night there. And there was a couple interesting things that happened over by that break room. And,
Oh,
well,
like creepy, creepy, scary.
yeah, two officers
Oh,
apparently saw a faceless man,
no, 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 no.
and they didn't tell anyone right away. And then another officer was talking about how he had this very strange nightmare about the prison.
Uh-huh.
And he started talking about that and how he also saw a faceless man in that nightmare. And it shouldn't
I'm
really
not
be.
protecting you.
Faceless
That's
man
what you
isn't
are.
really an accurate way of describing what they described to me, because the way that they described it was they saw a guy and they could see every detail about his uniform, about how his shoes were shined, every
Hmm.
crease and pleat and everything like that. But they couldn't really look at or see his face. It was almost
Very
like it was
shadowy.
completely staticked out.
Oh. Ugh. See, I kind of, yeah, that's scary. That's scary because I kind of, I, I had something. So when I was a kid, I saw this thing that did have a face, or that I couldn't remember the face. I couldn't tell you what it looked like, but it had a face. It just when you don't look at it, you don't remember the face. But that was all psychological. Never mind. That's creepy. That's
But
so
yeah,
creepy.
there was
Stuff like that is just really creeps me out, like the no face thing. It really
yep.
gets me. It's
And
probably because of when I was younger, but
one of the other guards said that he got pushed by something that wasn't
oh,
there at one point.
oh no.
Another guard would not do internal checks of the prison, so he'd always have someone else do those for him,
Uh huh.
because there was internal rounds, which is checking all the different sections of the prison, education, the tunnels, shit like that. And
Oh.
he would not do them because when he went down into the kitchen tunnels, he said that he would see what he described as the red eye demon.
Oh. Oh no.
So he refused to do those. Also,
I
he
don't blame
would
him.
be doing like rounds in Seg, and Seg has these back passes.
Hmm.
And the way that you typically do a round is you'd walk down a hall, you'd go through a door into the back pass, you'd walk up another hall, then you would come out into the main area of Seg, you'd go down another hall, walk down that one, walk through the back pass, come up through another hall. And it would just be
Hmm.
the halls and the back passes all made U's effectively.
Uh huh.
So you'd walk this kind of star as you're doing your rounds, and
Uh
he
huh.
would occasionally walk up to the door. And the entire time that you're in the Seg bubble, you could see the officers as they're doing their rounds,
Uh huh.
and you would buzz them through the back pass doors.
Uh huh.
Or they could open them with a key, but typically you'd buzz them through, just make the round a bit easier, a bit quicker. And there are a bunch of times where he would walk up to a door, he would look through the back pass door, you'd go to buzz him, and he would walk back out of that hole, refusing to go down the back pass.
Oh, bless his heart. That he must have seen something horrible. Oh.
He said that was the same guy that said he would see the red-eye demon, and he said that he saw him in Seg a few times.
Ugh. Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, it was a very old prison, one of the oldest in the country,
Mm.
and supposedly one of the most haunted.
Mm. Well, I am sufficiently creeped out.
Yep.
And Assassin, that is so messy. That is so messy.
Yep.
He was shooting at us around the corner, and a peek at Belt said one of the guys landed a grenade. And boom. So he,
Yep.
he, he went to pieces. Sorry, that was tacky. Just couldn't
Oh, no
hold
worries.
himself together. I'm sorry. Yeah. But
He'll never be
that
the head of
stuff
the
is
class.
creepy.
Not a very good
Ah.
party face.
I didn't mean to take the topic over to spoopy stories. I like stuff like that. Like I got tons of
Oh, yeah.
spoopy stories, and I like to hear them from other people. And yeah.
Like I said, that is the only kind of spooky story that I had was the radio.
Yeah,
I
that
had
is creepy.
a story that wasn't spooky. It was just I have no clue how the fuck to explain this.
Mm.
And it was very strange. It wasn't from working in the prison. It was from when I went to Japan.
Uh-huh.
Because Fushimi Inari is this one site in Japan. It's one of the most sacred areas of Japan. It's
Mm-hmm.
a shrine to Nari. And here, let me pull up pictures because you've probably seen Fushimi Inari before. Because almost everyone has seen Fushimi Inari. It's the kind of mountain with a shit ton of torii gates going all the way up the mountain. So it's torii gates are the big wooden archways that are painted
Oh, yeah.
orange or
Yeah.
red. So let me pop this into another window, and then I will show this. This is a section of Fushimi Inari, the path up Fushimi Inari. But it is this extremely sacred site, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's a bunch of minor shrines kicked off to the
Oh,
sides
wow.
of the main path,
Uh-huh.
and this is one of the paths. Like I said, just a ridiculous number of torii gates leading along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at Fushimi Inari with a bunch of friends. We went up the main path, but then we saw an offshoot to a shrine. So we
Mm-hmm.
decided to go take a look at that shrine. And then we saw another path leading away from that shrine. We decided, might as well go on a bit of exploration, see if we find another shrine down that way. So we wander along this path. Then at a certain point, we realize, not sure exactly how to get back.
Mm-hmm.
But we end up coming out on the path and onto a road. We look one way, don't see anything. We look the other way, don't see anything.
Uh-huh.
And we're just kind of talking amongst ourselves, going, okay, so how do we get back, and trying to talk through our options. Again, still just every so often looking down the two directions on the road, and we can see a good distance down either way.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're talking, we look one way, then we turn around, look the other, continue talking. We're going, this is going to suck. And then someone says from almost directly behind us, you're trying to get back up the mountain. We turn around, and there's a dude standing like 5 feet from us.
Uh, how did he get there?
None of us know.
Oh,
But he's
wow.
kind of an older gent, standing like 5 feet away from us.
Uh-huh.
None of us saw him before
Was he
he
speaking
talked to us.
English?
He
English?
spoke
I mean,
English when he said that.
oh,
And
okay.
then he said, "Oh, yeah, I can show you guys the way. All we have to do is go this way." And he starts leading us back up the mountain.
Huh.
And as he's leading us up the mountain, he talks to each of us.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that he spoke to me, he spoke in English. And it was almost completely unaccented English. Very easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, as he talked to the members of the party that were fluent in Japanese, he would speak just Japanese to them.
Did it sound like English to you when he was talking, though?
Well, I didn't listen in on the
Uh,
conversations
Oh,
because
oh,
when he
oh, I
was
thought
talking to
maybe
other
everybody could
people,
hear him. Oh,
no, it
okay.
was when he spoke to them, he was speaking
Uh-huh.
entirely in Japanese. When he spoke to people that knew some Japanese, but mostly English, he would speak some Japanese, but mostly English. And the thing was that with those people, he would only use Japanese words that they understood. They at no point had to ask him, what does that word mean?
Oh, oh, that
Also,
he was a ghost.
he never asked if any of us could speak Japanese or how
Oh,
much
that's.
Japanese.
Oh no.
He
He
just
was.
spoke to each of us in either just English, a combo of English and Japanese, or just Japanese.
Oh, he was
So
a
he leads
ghost.
us up, and people get tired at various points as he's leading us up, and he goes, "Okay, the way
Mm-hmm.
back down is you guys just take this path from this area, and if someone decided that they were heading back down, they would head down that path, and then the rest of us would continue up, and someone else would get tired. Okay, just head down the path through this way." He led some of us all the way up to the top. Others, like I said, dropped out at various points. So at a certain point, I decided to head down the mountain. And as I'm heading down the mountain, everything was going fine. He told me the path from where I head off. And like I said, he told everyone, told people from the top, this is how you go. From any other point, this is how you go. So was heading down, perfectly fine, heading down the steps of the mountain, through the torii gates. And as I'm walking down the mountain, I see the same chap. He told us his name was Taniyama. I see Taniyama walking up
Mm-hmm.
the mountain, up the steps,
Mm-hmm.
towards me. And he chats with me for a little bit, tells me about how far it is back down to the foot of the mountain. And if you're getting thirsty, there's a place that you can get a drink just a little bit down the path. And if you're a little bit peckish and want a snack, there's also a place down this way that you can get a little bit of a snack.
Mm-hmm.
And check in, talk for a little bit, how you doing, all that good stuff, and he would continue up the mountain. So I continued down the mountain, and a few moments later, Taniyama walking up the mountain.
Wait, what? Towards you?
At no point did he walk down the mountain past me, but he's walking up the mountain towards me again.
Uh-huh.
And again, Taniyama kind of stops and talks with me, and again gives me some information on like how far it is to the bottom and
Uh-huh.
where different things that I might be interested in seeing or drinks, stuff like that are.
Uh-huh.
And after a few moments of talking, he walks up the mountain. And I continue down, and a few moments later, Taniyama's walking up the mountain, stops, talks with me for a little bit. I talk to him. He continues up the mountain. I
At
continue
this
down
point,
the mountain.
I would be like, Tomiyama, how you do this? Are
A
you
few
goosed?
moments later, Taniyama walking up the mountain, About 4 or 5 times as I'm walking down the mountain, Taniyama's walking up the mountain. At no point did I see Taniyama walk down the mountain.
I would be freaked out by this point, Sanguine.
At the same time, though, I'm going, dude clearly knows this mountain because he showed us from where we had no clue how the hell to get here. And he knew all the paths to send us in order to go down from the different points that people were trying to split off.
Yeah.
So, not terribly confused, just going, this is very strange. He's a much fitter old man than I thought he was. So, get down to the bottom of the mountain and meet up with everyone else that had already made it, and a few people trail down after. There were like 2 people that lingered longer than I did. So, as we're talking, I decide to ask a question. Because it was kind of strange. Hey, when you guys were walking down the mountain, did any of you see Taniyama again? Everyone saw Taniyama walking up the mountain at least 4 or 5 times.
He was a ghost.
We're walking down the mountain.
He was a guardian ghost.
Every time Taniyama would be walking up, they would chat with him. Go ahead, Cryptic.
Hi, Cryptic.
Cryptic has a question. So, every time he would chat with them a little bit, and they'd chat back, and he'd tell them information. Then head along the way again. But it was as we were talking about this that we realized something very important about the timing.
Yes, it all happened at the same time.
Well, in order for him to have met each of us 4 or 5 times as we're walking down the mountain, when we all split off at different points to head down the mountain, and there were several points where several of us were heading down the mountain at the same time, there was overlap.
Oh, no.
Where,
Sanguine.
well, the fun part was, as we were chatting about this, the professor that was with us, that is entirely fluent in Japanese and had lived in Japan for a period of time, didn't know that we were saying Taniyama as a name. He just heard us saying Taniyama, 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 Taniyama. And he went, why are you guys saying Mountain Valley so many fucking times in a row?
Oh.
Because Taniyama, Yama means mountain, and Tani is valley. So it's Valley Mountain or Mountain Valley.
He was the mountain.
So it became the running joke that we had this spiritual experience in Japan at the most sacred, at one of the most sacred sites in Japan.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, it sounds like a mountain spirit helped y'all get down.
At the point when we first started talking about, so it was strange that he spoke English so well. Yeah, it was strange, especially since the only time that he spoke English was when he was speaking to everyone else. What do you mean the only time he spoke English was when he was speaking to anyone else? The only thing that I ever heard him speak was English. I heard him speak a combination. That was the conversation, where that was when we found out that he was just talking to each of us in the degree of the language that we knew.
That's creepy, yo. You said this wasn't creepy. That's creepy. I know he was nice. I know he was nice and kind and he helped you. But he was a ghost.
Nah, that was cool. It wasn't...
Yeah, but still creepy.
Creepy ghost shit. It was cool. What the fuck was this? And then I said that was the only thing that I had that was really unexplained. Or those 2 stories were the only ones that I had that were really unexplained. But then I just remembered there was the time that I walked, and my walk made no sense. Because I knew the area where I was walking, and I started walking in one direction. And as I was walking in that one direction, I know that if... So, I started the walk heading one way. When
Mm-hmm.
I ended the walk and knew where I was,
Mm-hmm.
I was someplace that was entirely in the opposite direction. Now, this could have
Huh.
made sense if at any point I had crossed this one major street that I knew the entire length of,
Uh-huh.
and there was no way to get between these points without crossing that street.
Uh-huh. And you got there?
At no point did I cross that street,
Uh-huh.
and during part of my walk, it got kind of weird because I was walking, everything was going perfectly fine, just on a nice long walk during the night, just trying to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were going, or not we, this was just me, as I was going on this walk, just
No.
looking around, taking various turns when I decided, like I said, I knew the area rather well. And then as I'm walking, massive fog bank.
Huh.
Yeah, whatever. Walk into the fog bank, continue on. Fog bank gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and then fog bank kind of breaks. And as I was walking through the fog bank, the road surface under my feet kind of
Mm-hmm.
felt different.
Mm-hmm.
And it was different because it went from asphalt to brick, effectively.
Huh.
But it wasn't like red brick, it was just kind of like a cobbled road, would
Uh-huh.
be the best way of phrasing it. And everything looked kind of okay, but also looked kind of strange. Because there was like a bridge over a little creek that I didn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fairly old fashioned bridge over this little creek. Continued walking, everything was going fine. Noticed that some of the lights from buildings were kind of flickering rather than standard. Strange. Continue walking. Fog bank again. Walk into the fog bank. Fog bank gets thicker, 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 thins, and but continue walking. After walking for a little bit, that's when I ended up in the place that I knew where I was. And
Mm-hmm.
when I ended up in the place that I knew where I was, yeah, it was some place where I knew exactly where it was, knew how I could have ended up there, knew I didn't end up there that way.
You crossed through a rip in time or something. It's like rip in reality or that's creepy. That's crazy.
Yeah, those are my three. I'm not sure exactly how to explain these stories.
Yeah, that's yeah. That's definitely strange. I would be freaking out though. I'd be like, how the hell did I get here?
And apparently, my mom told me a while later when I told her that story that that wasn't the first time that something like that had happened.
Oh, you walk out of reality often? No, I'm
Well,
not meaning to joke, but it's kind of creepy.
there was apparently a time that I was very, very young,
Mm-hmm.
and we were driving to the local mall. My mom, of course, knows where the local mall is. She knows how to get there, and then she's driving on this one road, kind of thick fog bank for a moment, so she slows down, kind of pulls over to the side. Fog bank clears because it wasn't safe to drive and how thick the fog was.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on a road that did not connect to the road that we were on before, apparently.
Oh, oh,
That
y'all got
was on the entire opposite side of where the malls were, because we were on a road near the airport.
Okay, so lesson is don't go into the fog. If you see fog, turn away. It's going to displace you in reality. Don't go to the fog, Carol Ann. That's creepy. That's crazy.
But yeah, so
Oh.
apparently it was not the first time that I had
Yeah,
gone into
that's
a fog bank and gone, oh shit, this isn't where
yeah,
I was.
that's strange.
How
That
did I end
definitely
up here?
makes you look like makes you second guess going into fog. That's yeah. Yeah.
Don't go into the light. Nice cryptic.
Oh. Yeah. Assassin had said that the sensei was looking out for honored visitors. I think that's what he was doing too. He was a spirit watching out for peoples on the mountain. And yeah, that fog was strong for the final countdown. Back here.
But
Yeah,
those
that's definitely strange. Is unexplainable.
those are the only strange stories from my life personally when it
Hmm.
comes to shit like that. Since we've started the creepy stories, do you have any strange stories?
Do I have strange stories? Well, I used to live in a haunted house. I used to live in a couple because the shit followed us. Let's see. Okay. So here's one. Okay. So because we used to live in haunted houses and the shit used to follow us, I was always scared to sleep in the bed by myself for the longest time. So I would sleep in bed with my mom or my brother. Don't laugh at me. I can't help it. Yeah, up until I was about age 12 or 11. So there was this one night that I would usually get up and come out of my room and go to my mom's room. I would knock on the door, stand outside the door and ask to come in and lay down with her. And she would always go, yeah, because I get scared. So this one night I went over to my friend's house, right? I was out of the house. My mom was asleep, and about the same time as every night that I would come in there, she heard me knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Mom, I'm scared. She said, I sounded a little strange. She said, Mom, I'm scared. Can I sleep with you, please? And she was facing the opposite direction, not toward the door. And she was aggravated. She started to say yes, but then she realized I wasn't home. And she said, Honey, no, you have to go back to your room. And she was wide awake. And she said she heard me walk from her door into my room, right? Okay,
Okay.
so my room's door, it was taken off the hinges. Um, and so she heard the door shut, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Yes. And then, what else? Which one is the creepiest one? Um, So there was one time that I had a neighbor named Mr. Harp, and he was so sweet and such a nice neighbor. He
By the
was an
way, hello,
elderly
cryptic.
man. Hey, Cryptic. And so me and my mom were out one day, and we drive past our house and his house, and he's sitting on the porch. And he waves at us. Both of us saw him. He waved at us. We waved back, and we are going to get Taco Bell, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my mom decided, it'd be a good thing. We'll get Mr. Harp some Taco Bell. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So we got him food, drove home. As we were driving home, we passed his house. He wasn't sitting out there no more. So we go in, and my mom tells my brother, go next door and give this food to Mr. Harp, because he was such a kind man. So my brother goes over there, and a little bit out later, he comes back and he goes, look, I knocked and knocked and knocked. Mr. Harp did not answer the door. And my mom was a bit irritated because she was trying to do something nice and it failed. So
Yep.
2 months later, Mr. Harp used to mow our yard. 2 months later, his daughter comes by the house. She knocks on the door and she says, Ma'am, I'm sorry to tell you. And then she proceeded to tell my mom that he couldn't mow the yard anymore because he had passed away. 4 months ago.
Okay.
Hey, Kefki,
I got lots of creepy stories. But yeah,
Kev,
what?
it was me.
Cryptic, why do you do that?
That's
I didn't
not
do anything.
cryptic. That's clearly
That
Claw.
clearly wasn't me. Yeah, it was Baltazar.
no. That was Claw.
Look!
You can pull that past me. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. He was
Assassin?
about to say,
I'll get you
Taco Bell was fine.
time.
That does sound like Dr. Claw.
Next time. Next time, Gadget, I will get you, you piece of shit.
I mean, anyway, so we're talking about scary shit, right?
"Yep."
Okay.
Yes.
So, I was living in projects in the mid '90s, right?
Mhm.
So there was this house along the way. Every fucking night. So my best friend lives right across the street from it. And these are like Section 8 housing where they have like a row of a building with a row like 10 houses, well 10 family living in one, building basically divided by a bunch of, every fucking time I go to my friend to visit my friend, I look up to across the street and there's always fucking somebody standing there. I don't know why.
Ah,
Yeah, just looking down. Nobody lives there.
okay, who was standing in the street?
No, they're standing in that window, just looking down at you.
Oh, in that house? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Come to find out, everybody has moved in there has moved out of that fucking out of that house in basically less than 6 months. The whole time I was there, but just somebody just looking down at you.
Nope. Nope. No.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
Ah, no. That's
That
scary.
just
That's
reminds
creepy.
me of the various stories where it turns out someone was living in the walls.
No!
Because you guys have heard those stories, right? There
Yes.
was one where the guy turned into a murderer as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Killed the
Oh.
old folks that were living in the house.
Speaking about living in the walls, we moved. Okay, so I don't know how to explain this. So we moved into this tiny little trailer, right? And my room was so tiny. It was like a sardine can. My bed hit both the sides of the walls. It was that wide. It was tiny, but it was long. So, like, a couple months after we moved in there, I started hearing knocking right beside my bed. And I'm like, I thought and it would follow you throughout the trailer, just this knock, and my mom was like, okay, some kid is getting up in the wall and knocking, going under the trailer and getting under the wall and knocking, because there was a kid that would do weird shit like that. My mom caught him peeping in my window, so my mom had asked his mother if he was at home, and sure enough, he was at home. And she was looking out the yard, and she could see them come out on the porch. And in my room, it was still doing the knocking. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain that. Like, my mom said it was because they were drilling or something, like the plant down the road was causing vibrations. But it followed you throughout the trailer.
So, Kev,
It was so weird.
you want to hear something bad?
Mwah.
So, when I was living in this,
I'm sorry, I can't keep that.
That's
Up. So
can't keep that
when I
up.
when I was living in my second Section 8 housing, right?
knocking, but you can't come in. Da, 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 da.
Nice.
Nice.
Sorry.
Nah,
I
you
saw
good.
that.
So, I would hear banging in the middle of the night, right? I'm like, fucking.
Yes.
And I was too young to fucking know what it is, so I thought it was ghosts.
Mm.
We live in a duplex, Section 8 housing. Now, as an adult, I know what they were doing. They were fucking.
What was it?
They were fucking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
ew.
yeah. but growing up, I was like, I thought it was ghosts.
Yeah.
There's just this ghost that is
It was
squeaking
meth
bed
heads.
springs, and all I keep hearing is.
Yeah, all who was.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
You know, Assassin, you joke about that, but we were scared it might have been like some drug-addled idiot crawling up into the trailer walls. Because the bottom of the trailer was just open. You could go in there and yeah. Yeah, I don't think that one was paranormal. I think
Cryptic
that
being
was
haunted by just the sound of plap, 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 plap.
plap, plap, plap. Oh my god. Mm. I used to think when I used to hear voices calling my name at night over and over and over again, and I always thought it was ghosts, and I was so very scared of it. Come to find out, it was schizophrenia. Yay!
Fun.
Antipsychotics cleared that right up. Not really, but yeah. I wish they would have diagnosed me earlier. It would have saved me from being terrified all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. When someone can tell a good, creepy story, it's always a lot of fun.
Badger said it must have been a religious ghost cryptid because it kept saying, "Oh God, oh God, oh God." Wait, I could do that better. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Wait, don't strike this YouTube. Don't. Go away, YouTube. Go away, Susan.
See, now, if he had been in New York and had been a couple decades earlier, then he would have heard the, oh God, oh crap, oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
But any other stories that you guys want to share, or shall we go to different topic?
You guys want to hear the more creepy stories? I got tons.
I just have one more.
Cryptic, you sound very muffled like you're in a tin can.
I am in a tin can. You sound.
Oh.
Okay. So I have one more. So
Okay.
when I was living in the same project area, so I had a family friend that lived basically 10 blocks away, and this one time we were going home at dusk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for fucking God's sake, I thought we saw like a woman sitting in a tree.
In a tree?
Yeah, like she was dressed. Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, nah. So we fucking book our happy ass home.
Yeah.
But like she was just wailing the whole time, crying.
Where was that?
This little like a basically river, the Platte River area where we were just like, even that general area that's basically where people dump shit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
As an adult, it reminded me of like what's that the Mexican folklore with that woman who lost her kid and
La Roña, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But like, as an adult, I remember like coming back on like that looks very familiar, and I have fucking no clue how. I can't explain it to this very day, but I have no idea. It creeps me the
Oh
fuck
yeah,
out.
La Llorona. La Llorona?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like her kids were
Yeah.
like drowned or something like that, drowned, and she couldn't.
Mm.
Yeah,
Ah, it's creepy.
yeah, and to this very day, I don't know. Maybe because I was scared, a little kid, but I don't know what the fuck I saw that day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But
So when we first moved, we moved into a pre-Civil War house. It was a very old pre-Civil War plantation house. The first night we moved in, the electricity went out because it was storms, and my mom came in. We had the cats. We brought them in. My mom's walking through the kitchen, and she goes, "Shave it, a haircut on the wall." And like 5 seconds go by, and it goes, "Shave it, a haircut, 2 bits."
Oh God, you are
And so,
hunted by Rottinger rabbits.
well, and so my mom's like, "We're leaving, we're leaving." I'm like, "Why?" Because she's like, "Nope, we're leaving. We got in a fight because I had to get the cats." Yeah.
This is a portal to Toontown. You aren't ready for this silliness.
Look, it was creepy. It did it exactly like my mom had did, and on the same wall, right back at her in the same spot. Yeah. Of course, I did not see that, but I believe my mom. My mom would not fib about that because I went to my grandmother's house that night. Cats, no.
So
And my grandma didn't like cats.
This makes me think of something that I've been saying for a little bit with another group of friends. You know the games Demonologist and the Paranormal?
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's 2 games, Demonologist and... Is it Paranormal? Or... I'm getting that second one's name wrong, I think.
Oh, where you hunting ghosts and you use your microphone? Yeah,
Yes.
Phasmophobia. I want that game so
Phasmophobia,
bad.
that's the one that I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, I want that game so bad.
Demonologist and Phasmo are 2 games where you go, you explore an area, you have to determine what the hell's affecting the area.
Uh-huh.
I really want there to be a game that takes that idea, but then makes it 2 different rounds. Round 1 is very much the same, only with more areas that it could be and more things that it could be. Where it could be a vampire, it could be a werewolf, it could be insert any sort of monster from myth, lore, and legend.
Uh-huh. That would be cool.
You have to go during round 1. You're figuring out what the hell it is. And then based on what you figured out in round 1, you equip yourself for round 2. And round 2 is the hunt.
No, that sounds cool. I would play that game.
Yeah, so first round, you're vulnerable. You are extremely vulnerable because you're going in just trying to investigate. And if you piss it off while you're trying to investigate, your entire team could be wiped. And you don't know what the hell just wiped your team. So that round 2 becomes when you get to actually try to do something against it and make it so that it really matters if you get round 1 right. Because if you equip yourself for a vampire and it's a fucking werewolf,
oh, you'd be screwed.
Suddenly you show up, you're going, okay, we're ready to hunt this vampire, and you track it down, and you go to shoot the thing with your wooden bolt for your crossbow. It slams into its heart, it turns into a werewolf, and holy shit, you don't have any silver. And you have to scramble to try to find some form of silver in order to try to kill the thing, and it becomes a hell of a lot harder. You can still do it, but you end up having to find like a silver fucking letter opener, and now you're having to melee a goddamn werewolf to death with a silver letter opener. So it becomes
Yeah.
this game of get that first round right, and the second round becomes a lot easier.
With the hole in
Get
its
that
chest. Just
second round, though, you have to be able to actually hunt.
Mm-hmm. See, that would be cool. Yeah. That like, you wouldn't know what you were fighting, and you have to be prepared. Maybe your investigation, you can kind of figure it out, then go back and get what you think you need.
Yep,
And
that's what I'm
then,
saying.
yeah.
Where
Oh,
round
yes,
one would
yes.
be investigation, and you try to figure out whatever the hell it is. The more information you get, the more likely you are to be correct. Round two is you've equipped for whatever you thought you were dealing with. And in that round two, if you were right, you now have a fun time because you have the right weapons to go for the right type of hunt.
But if you were wrong.
If you were wrong, suddenly you're armed for bear when it comes to goddamn vampires.
Yeah, you did.
But you're dead when it comes to the fucking werewolf that you're actually hunting. Or
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to track where the thing that you thought, or you're trying to track the thing that is haunting the area. And
Mm-hmm.
you mistook it. So there's a Ryoshi, I think is the name of it. It's a Japanese demon that its feet
Oh.
are on backwards.
Wow.
So its feet go backwards. Its heels are pointed to the front, its toes are pointed to its heel.
Uh-huh.
So if you're hunting if you think that you're hunting an Oni, let's say, another Japanese monster,
Yeah.
you would follow the toes in order to get to where it is. You'd follow its tracks, pointed in the direction of the toe, and you'd be able to find where the Oni is. If you're going after a Ryoshi, you'd have to follow where the heel is. So you'd look like you're following the trail backwards.
Backwards, yeah. You follow the trail backwards. That's interesting.
So if you think that you're after an Oni, but you're really after an Ryoshi, you start just following the trail in the wrong direction,
Mm-hmm.
and you never find the fucker.
And you
So
get
your hunt
lost.
ends unsuccessfully.
Yeah. Oh.
And the same in reverse. If you think that you're hunting a Ryoshi, but turns out that you're hunting a vampire. So you've been following the fucking feet the wrong way.
I have never heard of the demonology game. I've heard of Phasmophobia, but I haven't heard of that one.
So
Is it basically the same thing?
Demonologist is very similar, but then there's, after you determine what the entity is, there's a banishment ritual that you have to go through. And it doesn't require you to leave and then come back with all the shit in order to do the banishment. It's once you figure it out, then you start the banishment, finding whatever you need at the location.
Oh, see that would be a cool game too. I really want to get Phasmophobia, but I don't got nobody to play it with. One, and then two, I can't afford Phasmophobia, and three, I don't know if it'll run on my laptop. So, because I got Mortuary Assistant, I wanted to play it so bad. I was going to stream it, but I can't run it. It's too slow, and the color turns to this blue weirdness, and you can't move around because it's just so slow, and I can't figure out how to get it to work. Looks like such a fun game. But yeah.
It looks fun. Like I said, I really want that. I want someone to come up with the game that or to make the game that I just outlined, where it's you do the investigation, then you do the hunt, and if you got the investigation right, your hunt can go fairly smooth. You still have to actually have the skills in order to take out whatever you're taking out.
Yeah.
But you at least have the right equipment to give it a go. Whereas if you fuck it up, you're completely unequipped and you have to scramble to find something, anything that you can use. If you're hunting a werewolf, you'll have to scramble around trying to find fucking anything that's silver.
I forgot about Carrion Badger. I forgot I had that game. Thank you for reminding me. I want to play that now. I think I'll play that next week. Once I get everything sorted out about my medicine and stuff, I'm going to do that. Thank you.
If it turns out that you're hunting Fae, you have to find something of iron.
Iron, yeah. There could be some overlap too, because sometimes like silver in some folklore hurts both werewolves and vampires and yeah. No wait.
Yep.
No. Wait. Oh, yes.
There's different nationalities of vampire that are vulnerable to different things.
Yeah.
There's different versions of were creatures that are vulnerable to different things. Like, if I remember correctly, is it the Indian were tiger is vulnerable against gold?
I got no idea.
I want to say it was the were tiger was vulnerable against gold. But yeah, there's a shit ton of different mythos, and that would be the easy way of expanding the game. It would just be adding more and more things that you would be hunting. But you could start with a pretty good roster of like a couple different types of fae, ghosts, and a couple different types of ghosts, vampires, werewolves. And then you just keep on adding different monsters and creatures as it goes. That would be fucking awesome.
That would be cool. I would want to play it. That sounds like a fun game.
And goddammit, cannibalistic, that is a terrible joke. Do you know why there's no vampires in Africa? Because they bless the rains down in Africa.
That's funny.
Yeah, you could have a bunch of Native American ones that you add in. The Wendigo, the Nagloshi, all those different beings. You could have a shit ton of different fae that you add in. You could have the chupacabra, shit like that gets added in as well. There's so many different things that you could add to this game in order to have easy expansion options.
Sorry, I slipped in my drink. I don't have enough drink in here. Damn it. I didn't mean to make so much noise. I apologize.
And it would just be fucking cool to go through that game.
Yeah.
Especially since it would be, as you play the game more, you kind of have more knowledge as to what the hell you're looking for and how the hell to deal with it. Yes, it's a Shoggoth hunt. Good luck. Enjoy the complimentary madness. Also, because that was just talking about something that I thought would be interesting. I did come up with a new insult that I rather enjoy.
What's that?
So, you know how people will quite often, as an insult, say, oh, he's a hoe, she's a hoe?
Yes.
I have an even better one. Because a hoe implies that someone's willing to pay for it. They're an unwanted virginal slut. They have all the desire to be a slut, just no one's actually taking them up on
it. Virginal slut.
Yes, an unwanted virginal slut. I thought of it when I heard someone else say that a person was a hoe, and I immediately responded, that implies someone's willing to pay for it. They're an unwanted virginal slut.
That's more insulting than being called a hoe, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
A hoe has market value.
I wasn't going to say it that way, but yes. Sorry. Cryptic.
Cryptic might have zonked out.
I think so, yes.
Did you zonk, Cryptic? But it is getting to be about that time. Shall we go to parting words and wind down?
Yes.
So, do you want to give your parting words?
Oh, my parting words? Do not go into the fog.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
shit. Yeah. Oh, and don't take no wood nickels. And do not panic. Everything is normal. Okay, now I'm done. Now I'm done.
Cryptic, I'll give you one more time as a chance to unmute and give parting words. Yeah, I think he's zonked out. So, I'll give my parting words of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Bye!
And now to end this, and it takes a moment after